So we're going to talk a little bit about the physics of your sprite character. Right now, as you can see, I've got the happy face with nothing happening to him. So things are pretty easy right now for him. Um, but we want to add some physics to actually make this game start happening. So let's talk about that a little bit. We'll go to the code. You definitely want to have this SK Physics Contact Delegate in your game scene class. So add the protocol for SK Physics Contact. The other important part is to set the delegate for it in your did move to view. You can also modify the gravity. So there is a default setting for the gravity that will just automatically happen, but you can change that as well. So if you wanted to move an object in a certain direction, like I want mine to fall straight down, so I have a negative y value. If you want it to move left to right, you would change the x. And so that basically just sets the gravity for your physics world. And that's everything is affected by that. Um, so what I want to do is add this to the actual face here. If you look, I have that happy face. It's called face. I have a function called create face. And I'm going to put all of the physics stuff in the function that creates the face. So it's just set up exactly how we want it to be. So let me zoom in on this area here. If you notice, it's just a few lines of code that'll do what we want it to do here. I have it commented out just so you can see. It's just one line of code that actually adds the physics to the object or the node, I guess. And it's this line of code right here. You noticed that my face was sitting still before. If I uncomment that here, you'll see when we run it what happens. So it's face, you call the property physics bodies, and you add the physics body to the texture and change the size of it as well based on the texture size. So you can specify the size of the physics body as well. So now when I run it, the face should fall straight down. Boom, there he goes. You notice he falls right through everything. And that can be changed pretty easily too. We do have a contact bitmask checking for contact. Do we want it to act dynamically? Yes, we do. But if we want it to come into contact with other things, you need to set those up to do so. My collision bit mask, if you change that number, it will start contacting other things. But the other point is you need to make sure whatever you want it to come into contact with has this physics body added as well. So I changed this to 1, so it's no longer 0, and now it'll start to hit things because I've changed that number. But it won't hit things unless you give it a physics body. So the other stuff has to have physics bodies, which we've done. I'll just show you how this looks now, though. So now he's hit the bottom. He's hitting the ground. The way that's happening is I've changed the collision bit mask to something other than 0. If it's 0, it's going to fall through everything. And then my ground has a physics body as well. So I've given my ground a physics body so that things can come into contact with it. You'll notice that the dynamic for the physics for the ground is false. In the face, it's true because I want that to act with physics. I want my ground to stay put. If I had this at true, the ground would just fall right off the screen. So I set it at false so that it stays put. So if you want things to interact with each other, they have to have a physics body. And you have to set that physics body size and the texture that's going on to that physics body. Okay? And so, like I said, this can be changed, your vector amount. If you wanted that to drop a little bit slower, you could change that number. If I changed it to 1, the face would drop a little bit slower now. Okay. That moving him up and down is a completely separate function, which we'll get into. But that would be how you want to start adding physics to your sprite kit nodes.